Hey Jefferson, 4th and 5th graders, how are you? It's nice to see you. I wish I was seeing you in person. So today we are going to talk about friendship, okay? First of all, how is everybody doing? How are you feeling about friendship right now? Your friendships probably look a little different because you're not going to school and having lunch with your friends, sitting with them in class, talking with them, playing sports with them, right? Hopefully you're able to see your friends over the computer a little bit or during your class Zoom time, but it is a really different time. And I was thinking about friendship because I just want to be sure that everybody knows how important it is to be kind, especially right now, especially during this really strange time that most people who are alive haven't been through anything like this before, where we have to stay at home for a very long period of time, not see our friends or hug our friends, talk to them face to face. So it's important that we're kind to ourselves and that we're kind to other people, especially over the internet, right? The internet is a place that is available to the entire public. And that's why it's so important that we remember, and I know you've learned some of this at school too in the library with Ms. Kawas, but really it's important to remember that what you put on the internet, whether it's in a chat box or a video, that the entire world is able to see that. And if you put people's names attached to things and they're not your name, right? And they didn't give you permission for that, that's not kind. Okay, so that's one example. One really kind thing to do, right, is to send somebody a really nice email or something over the internet where you draw them a picture, take a picture of yourself. Okay, so we want to just remember that what we put out there on the internet is what the whole world can see. And that's going to be what the world thinks of us. Okay, we want the world to think of us as really kind, respectful people who have empathy for others. Who remembers what empathy is? Self-talk. That's right. Empathy is when you feel or understand how someone else is feeling. And it's such an important skill to have, because when you have empathy, you can understand why somebody looks the way they do. If they look sad, they have a frown. And then you can understand why they might be sad. Because when they tell you why they're sad, because maybe they lost something that was really special to them, for example, you can understand what that might feel like. And that's called having empathy. I also today, so that's about friendship and kindness. In particular, we're going to be talking about being kind and being friends with people who are different than you. Why is it important to be friends with people who are different than you? And why is it important to be kind? That's right, because we're all different and we want people to be kind to us as well, right? Kindness is what makes people happy, and happy is what makes people's lives so much better. And if you can make someone's life better by being kind to them, even for just 2 minutes of the day, it can really make a difference in someone else's life and your own. We're all different, right? So when we go to the classroom, we all bring different things with us. We all bring different points of view. We all look different. We eat different foods. We might speak different languages. But because of that, because we're all different, it's what makes us all work together, okay? Because when somebody brings something different to the classroom or the table or to Zoom or to your friendship group or your classmates, right, it makes things exciting. It makes things work better. Let's do a read aloud, and then we'll talk a little bit about why I chose this book and why it's important to appreciate difference and to include everyone, no matter what they look like and how they sound, okay? Frederick. Raise a quiet hand if you've read this book before, by Leah Leone. Such a good one, okay? I just heard my family say it was raining outside. So I'm looking outside to see if it really is raining. A little bit. Frederick. All along the meadow where the cows grazed and the horses ran, there was an old stone wall. In that wall, not far from the barn and the granary, a chatty family of field mice had their home. But the farmers had moved away, the barn was abandoned, and the granary stood empty. And since winter was not far off, the little mice began to gather corn and nuts and wheat and straw. They all worked day and night, all except Frederick. Frederick, why don't you work? They asked. I do work, said Frederick. I gather sun rays for the cold, dark winter days. And when they saw Frederick sitting there staring at the meadow, they said, and now, Frederick? I gather colors, answered Frederick simply, for winter is gray. And once Frederick seemed half asleep. Are you dreaming, Frederick? They asked reproachfully. What is reproachfully? It means hesitant, right? It means that they're not really quite sure they feel okay with what he's doing. But Frederick said, oh no, I'm gathering words, for the winter days are long and many and will run out of things to say. The winter days came, and when the first snow fell, the 5 little field mice took their hideout in the stones. In the beginning, there was lots to eat, and the mice told stories of foolish foxes and silly cats. They were a happy family. But little by little, they had nibbled up most of the nuts and berries. The straw was gone, and the corn was only a memory. It was cold in the wall, and no one felt like chatting. Then they remembered what Frederick had said about sun rays and colors and words. What about your supplies, Frederick? They asked. Close your eyes, said Frederick, as he climbed on a big stone. Now I send you the rays of the sun. Do you feel how their golden glow? And as Frederick spoke of the sun, the 4 little mice began to feel warmer. Was it Frederick's voice? Was it magic? And how about the colors, Frederick? They asked anxiously. Close your eyes again, Frederick said. And when he told them of the blue periwinkles, the red poppies and the yellow wheat, and the green leaves of the berry bush, they saw the colors as clearly as if they had been painted in their minds. And the words, Frederick? Frederick cleared his throat, waited a moment, and then said, as if from a stage, he said, who scatters snowflakes? Who melts the ice? Who spoils the weather? Who makes it nice? Who grows the 4-leaf clovers in June? Who dims the daylight? Who lights the moon? 4 little field mice who live in the sky, 4 little field mice like you and I. One is the spring mouse who turns on the showers, then comes the summer who paints in the flowers. The fall mouse is next with walnuts and wheat, and winter is last with little cold feet. Aren't we lucky the seasons are 4? Think of a year with 1 less or 1 more. When Frederick had finished, they all applauded. But Frederick, they said, you are a poet. Frederick blushed, took a bow, and said shyly, I know it. He rhymed. Okay, so what do you think about Frederick? Is he the same as everybody else in his family? Or is he a little bit different than everybody else in his family? Yeah, he's a little bit different, right? In the beginning, they were all working really hard and doing the same thing to prepare. But Frederick did not want to do the same thing that they were doing. Was he still part of the family? Absolutely. And then what happened? Yep, he went into the stones with them in winter, and they got really cold and they got really bored, and they wanted something to do to feel better, and he helped them with his quote-unquote supplies, right? His supplies were talking to them and making them feel as if they were warm, and he provided them entertainment with his poetry, right? Was he able to bring something really exciting and good and helpful to his family, perhaps his friends? He absolutely was. Was he different? Yes. So, can you be different from your family and from your friends and still love them and get along with them? Yes. Can you still be friends with someone who's different than you? Absolutely, okay? Can you still be helpful and a part of a family and be kind even if you're different from your family too? Absolutely, okay? Frederick is a really good example of that. Was Frederick kind? He was kind. He offered his supplies in the end. His family was kind. It seemed like they were really hesitant or unsure about what he was up to, but in the end, they were grateful, okay? So this is why it's really important to remember to A, always be kind, especially to people who are different from you. You never know what they're going to offer you that is going to bring you joy and bring your life more fulfilledness, okay? More fulfilledness in your life. You're going to feel more fulfilled, which means that you're going to feel more full and happy, okay? So being kind is really important. Also, it's really important to remember that it's okay to be different yourself, but also it's not okay to be unkind to different people. It's important to remember you can still be friends with people who are different from you, and even if you're not friends, it's really important that you're kind to them. Thank you for listening this week, 4th and 5th graders. Miss you so much. Hope to see you soon.